Hey everybody, Jason Sherman here. In today's episode of Zero to CEO, I sit down with founder and innovator Marc Plinke. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem. And today we're going to talk about innovating sustainable agriculture. Super interesting. I mean, look, everybody loves food. We can all agree
I
on
hope
that.
so.
We can agree on that, right? And there's been a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm constantly seeing stuff in the news about like, you can't eat this and you can't eat that. You can't eat this, you can't eat that. And then there's organic versus non-GMO. And there's so many different things that I'm constantly seeing. And then there's like recalls on food. And man, tell us about the importance of food and, tell us the state of food in the world in general, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the news.
Since ever humans started farming, to eat whatever was grown outside, under light outside, under the conditions outside. And of course, that's easy in the summer, right? So not a problem. Everybody has a garden, or when you have a garden and you grow on your balcony or whatever. And it's lovely, and that food tastes really also the healthiest food that you can eat, right? Because we grew up on this for 10,000 years. That's the food we ate. In Now came the idea, okay, we can grow things in greenhouses and we can grow them all year long, or we can bring things in from Mexico or California or whatever. And the problem with that food, it's grown indoors under industrial situations with a different kind of a light, with LEDs, etc., with fertilizers that are not necessarily natural. They can be organic, but it's not like it is on the outside, and you actually taste it. So when we go buy a strawberry, any time of the year, same for a tomato, those don't taste like the things that we're now in the end of July and beginning of August.
So you're mentioning indoor versus outdoor. I mean, here where I'm in Philadelphia, I've seen a lot of indoor farms where they're vertical with the LED lights. What's wrong with using indoor greenhouses instead of growing outdoors?
It's not wrong. It helps grow locally, right? That's a great thing, and we want that. What is not the same is that the conditions inside the greenhouse are not the same as they're outside. And mostly the difference is the light. We're not getting the light that we're having outside. We have glazing materials that block some of the infrared. We have some glazing materials that block the UV. Really important for taste.
So like let's kind of go with someone like me who doesn't know much about farming. I mean, I know the basics of sunshine and soil and crops, but there's also rain, and there are droughts, and there are pests, and there are so many other factors when you're outside. Isn't it better indoors when you're able to control the light is 24/7 or 18/6, whatever you decide to do, and then you have the soil controlled and the water controlled and everything's controlled, so that you don't have all those external issues? Isn't that good?
It's great. It's great to have that food you can produce this locally. Awesome. Have you gone to the local supermarket? Or I love Costco, don't get me wrong. Go to the Costco and buy a strawberry. It doesn't taste like much, right?
Okay.
My point is, it is great, but whether or not the fruit and vegetables that you can buy that are grown with these artificial means, whether or not they are actually tasting or being as good for us as we hope them to be, that remains to be seen.
Now,
and that can be improved. Let's put it this way.
So I know on your website, I checked it out. It's a lot about greenhouses. I saw like a lot of different kinds of greenhouses. Walk us through exactly what the point of a greenhouse is, why you like using them, and like why it's so significant.
Greenhouses are awesome places to grow food, and the main reason is you can get cement light in the winter month enough and have to fly in from wherever. How do you make really good food versus just making food? And so that's the part that I was talking about, trying to create environments that are more like the outside, so that you can actually grow high quality food. And you can do that in many places with 1/10 of the amount of water. So in many places, US, we have problems, maybe not as much in Philadelphia, but in the West, we all have water problems. growing with 1/10 of the amount of water or less is super attractive.
Of course, especially with like water problems that are happening around the world, and I'm seeing it's just getting worse. And
Yep.
other countries are coming to the U.S. to kind of take our water, and also growing crops for their animals here and exporting it there. I'm seeing a lot of issues, and it's probably going to get worse and worse. Fresh water is probably going to be. So yeah, I agree. I think that we need to balance it out. So how do we balance out technology and like natural principles? What's your recommendation for people?
I believe that a lot of technologies are evolving right now. The vertical farming technology has changed a lot. It had automated a lot, which on one hand was great. Growing vertically indoors has proven to take a lot of energy. And with higher energy prices since the Russian invasion, these companies have struggled a lot. We're getting all the sunlight for free, so greenhouse operators make money and they are succeeding. And so greenhouses tend to be the more sustainable ways to grow by using the sun. The thing that we are trying to do and focus on is to try to make the light as natural as possible so that you get to the same taste
Hmm.
and the same, hopefully, nutrients that you would get on the outside, which is the big part of our push to make things more taste like you would do it when you collect your vegetables outside in
And
your mama's garden or your own garden.
awesome. Now I need a quick minute for a little boost. Everyone knows how much I love exploring new ways to boost productivity and keep my energy levels up. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Magic Mind, the world's first mental performance shot. I gotta tell you, it's been a game changer for me. As a creator, I've tried countless products, but Magic Mind stands out. It's not just about the boost of energy, it's about the clarity and focus that lasts throughout my day. Whether I'm working on the podcast or diving into creative projects, it keeps me in the zone. After using Magic Mind for 3 months, it's truly integrated into my daily routine. Every morning, I kickstart my day with Magic Mind right before I dive into my work. I've noticed a significant improvement in my productivity and mental clarity. It keeps me sharp and on point without the jitters or crashes that I used to get from coffee. I can't recommend Magic Mind enough to my friends and fellow creators. It's been a consistent part of my life, helping me stay focused and energized, especially during these long creative sessions. Whether you're working on projects, studying, or just need a mental boost, Magic Mind is your go-to. So if you're looking for something to help you stay sharp and focused, give Magic Mind a try. Trust me, it's worth it. Stay creative, stay focused, and now let's get back to our guest. And I noticed there's so many things on your website that I never saw before. One of them was ground to air heat transfer. Can you explain what that is and how it works?
Yeah, glad to do that. So the idea is you can collect on any sunny day, you can collect the sunshine and the warmth that comes from the sun. When you do that, then um, normally in a greenhouse, you just blow it out because it's too much and it gets too hot. In our case, we want in the winter months specifically, we
Mm,
want that heat in the ground. We want to capture it in the
right.
ground. And if it is in the ground, then at nighttime when it gets cold, I can take it from the ground and bring it back up. So I get a free energy source instead of just throwing it out in the daytime and being lost. I
Super
have
cool.
an energy or a climate battery, really. That's what that is.
And can anybody implement one of these or integrate it into their system? Is it easy to
In,
do, or is it expensive? Or
yeah, it's not very expensive. It can be done in any greenhouse. Easier since most of the time we do it under the greenhouse. It's a little hard when you already have a concrete floor and such.
Hmm.
But in any other greenhouse, when you don't have to rip out, yeah, everything that you have inside, that's hard. It's easier if you're just building a new facility. It's much, much easier because you can get to the ground before you build the
Before
structure.
you build it,
Either
that
way.
makes more sense. So you have to. It almost sounds like it's better to build it as you're starting a new building or greenhouse versus
The
doing
GAHT
it.
system is correct. You can do this also with solar. So you can do solar hot water and use that to heat your ground, which is a much, much cheaper way in a way to do that. And so that's also an way where in a sunny to heat your ground by just pumping it in the ground and heating your floor in the daytime so that it will stay nice and warm in the nighttime.
Okay.
Very cheap.
Looks like we're having some internet issues. I'm not sure which one of us it is.
Oops.
Let's give us a 30-second pause just to make sure our connections are good. I know mine's really fast, so.
Mine should be, I'm in the office.
Okay. Just hold on. All right. Something else I saw on your website that I've never seen before is something called ETFE glazing materials. Again, that sounds like a donut. You like glazing, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I love donuts. So tell me what is it and what are the benefits of using it in greenhouses?
This is one thing that we're pushing, and it's a new thing. It comes back to what we talked earlier. ETFE allows the plant to grow under the most natural light. It doesn't filter any of the light out. It has extremely high light transmission, 98%, 96%, depending on the thickness. It is super sustainable in the sense, compared to glass, it takes 50 times less energy to make.
Wow.
And it does last forever. It needs to be recycled with the manufacturers, which they do. And the biggest advantage of it is it allows for the whole spectrum of the sunlight to come in. And that allows the plants to grow just like they're growing outdoors,
right.
Which means they have the same taste like they would have otherwise. And so that's the biggest advantage of everything.
Let me ask you something about that. I have full spectrum lights on in my office right now above me. I bought them years ago when I read about how full spectrum lights is like being outdoors. But do us humans, do we get the same benefits from full spectrum light bulbs that you get from being out in the sun, or is that not how it works?
Actually, a full spectrum light that you're buying is not truly full spectrum.
That's what I thought.
And so when we have the ETFE, you actually really
get the actual nutrients.
Yes. And is all of it necessary for the plant? No. It's all of it necessary for us humans? No. We, for example, struggle with the UV if the UV light is too high intensity, right? So then we get skin cancer, etc.
Yep.
The nice thing that happens with plants, and especially with the pests that we get in greenhouses easier because it's a protected environment. They think this is great. We're having a wonderful home. So what we're doing is we're shining light into their bedroom, meaning it's going to be hard for them to multiply.
Interesting.
And so the ETFE helps us to reduce the pest pressure on the plants by a significant amount, which benefits everybody because you need less efforts to get rid of the pests if they don't come in the first place.
So significant amount. So let's talk about before, I want to kind of wrap things up with statistics. So when you talk about increasing efficiency, production value, what are we seeing with your systems in place versus a traditional one in terms of increased efficiency and production value?
So that's a loaded question. So I want to say the way that we build our greenhouses and the design that we have, our greenhouses are 75% more efficient, or let's put it, they need 25% of the amount of energy that a normal greenhouse would take.
That's insane.
So that's huge difference, right?
Yeah, that's insane.
And they should create, because they have at least, but in the winter, they have more light. So they should create the same amount of food than you would buy in a normal, that you have in a normal greenhouse, but under now with the full light spectrum, they have a better tasting food. That doesn't mean that they necessarily have more production. They have a better tasting production. Right. And that's what we're going for. We're going for food quality that people will absolutely, or that we know that people really prefer.
All right. And one last question. How do you see the future of sustainable agriculture evolving?
I think that biggest thing that we are seeing even in agricultural states like Georgia, et cetera, we're seeing the change in the climate affecting the crops that we're growing because it gets too hot and our traditional crops are not evolving quickly enough to be grown in certain conditions. What is changing is that, for example, Georgia, just because I know that, they are actually, the Department of Agriculture is pushing greenhouse technology and subsidizing it without going into your credit rating because they want farmers to succeed 100% of the time successfully and not worry about, oh, this year we had amazing sun, we had too much sun, too much dry, whatever. It is giving the farmers a way to make money even in a bad year.
Right.
And so that means there are fewer subsidies needed. And so this is why the greenhouse technology will come. Not everything can be grown in a greenhouse. I don't see wheat to be grown in greenhouses or corn or something. But more and more of the vegetables in the US will be grown locally, and that's happening guaranteed. It's a slow process. We're a little behind, but we're coming.
But it's happening. Awesome. And where can people find out more about what you guys do and if they're interested in maybe building their own greenhouse using your technologies?
Yes, we help people with that. I think the easiest way is to go to Ceres Greenhouse Solutions.com or ceresgs.com, and you can look up all to your heart's content about all kind of technical things. I also wrote a book about how to design greenhouses that I donate all the profits, so I don't make any money. So I can
Nice.
my name up, Marc Plinke. It was written by my colleague Lindsay Schiller. It's how to build a solar greenhouse.
Love it. Guys, check out ceresgs.com and start sustainable food growing. Love it. Thanks again, and hope you guys enjoyed this. We'll see you in the next episode.